back. Great to have you with us on Primetime Business News. Now, the majority of executives in South Africa are delaying investment decisions due to a lack of business confidence. That's according to a Grant Thornton report. And our politics are one of the things making executives glum. Well, to discuss, we're joined by Johan Blichnout, a managing partner at Grant Thornton, Pretoria. Great to have you with us.
Thank you very much, Francis.
So nearly 2/3 of execs are delaying investment decisions. Half of them considering investing overseas. How serious is that?
I think it's very serious, because if you see the perfect storm we're actually in with a drought that we have, we've got problems with our interest rate, with our inflation rate. We just heard that. It's very important that we invest here, because good business people invest in times of trouble for times of growth. So as we take our money out, of course, we also make it a self-fulfilling prophecy that the rand weakens. A minute ago, you were talking about the rand as it weakens against the dollar. Every time we take money out the country for investment, of course, that has an effect on the value of the rand. So I think it's pretty serious. However, I must also say that many of them are investing in Africa.
Okay, so that's the one bright spot. What you were saying, it not only has implications for the rand, it has implications for labour, doesn't it? Jobs, because it means we're not investing in businesses to grow them here, basically.
Yes, it's an interesting comment on the labour, because you'd think that we would have, with so much people out of work, with the unemployment running so high, especially under young people, which is at crisis level itself, that our business people are actually telling us that there's a shortage of skills. And that is a real problem that we have had for about the 13 years that we've been doing the survey, and it hasn't really improved. So whilst there's an oversupply of labour, there's an undersupply of skills still.
Which points to education, things like that.
Unfortunately, I believe so.
And I see one of the biggest concerns, execs have moved away from complaining about no electricity to complaining about the cost of energy right now.
Well, of course, you have to recognise that as the pressure comes into the economy, executives have to look at ways to save money and understand where the money is being spent. And one of the big spends today is energy and water and those. So that will be the ones that will unsettle them most. And of course, those business people that import, of course, are very highly affected by the rand and the exchange rate. So way over 50% of our business people have indicated to us that those are concerns to them.
What part does Eskom play? Because it must be demotivating for policymakers. Load shedding was the issue that has at least been stopped, but Eskom has been increasing prices.
Of course, Eskom is the sole provider, apart from a few privateers, very small scale. So, of course, Eskom has to get their increases regulated or approved by the regulator. So, you know, must we be upset with Eskom? I actually think we sit with reality. The question is, how do we deal with it? Some things you can do nothing about. You can maybe go to Parliament, but that seems to be busy lately with other things.
Okay, this was for the first quarter of the year. So It came after December, after Nhlanhla Nene was removed as finance minister. Can you gauge what role that played and how executives are viewing politics in this environment?
We have to recognise, and it was clearly reflected in the exchange rate, that the position of a Minister of Finance is extremely important for investors, and investors are business people. So when a serious position like that gets changed easily and then there's upheaval, it has to have an effect on business confidence. And again, we've got to look at South African business confidence, not only in the context of South African business, but people investing in South African business. And we could see after this weekend's news reports about the Minister of Finance, again, the rand took a beating. So clearly, this political instability that we have and the economic uncertainty, together with other factors like the drought and the glut in the world commodities market, has a significant effect on us. And for the first time in the 13 odd years that, or only the second time in 13 years that we've done this survey, have we gone extremely negative. Over 40% on average of the African business people are negative about the economic outlook for the next year. If you take that round about 2010, we were the most optimistic country in the world. And then we started weakening. And eventually we were still in line with BRICS, but now the BRICS are still positive, plus 24%, 24% of them more positive than negative, and we minus 41. it is a very strong indicator of concerns in our economy.
So this is a serious finding then, and I was going to ask you to put it into context. So you say we've been weakening for a while. Has that been the trend? And then we're very out of step with the rest of the world?
Yes, but we're also excellent at lambasting ourselves and finding everything wrong. Worldwide, there has been a drop in business confidence over the last few months, especially in this first quarter as well. And if you look globally, of course, they're easy to identify. There is the American elections, Brexit, terror attacks. Those things have had a significant effect, and there has been a drop in international business confidence as well, because we do this. This is a global research. South Africa's has just been more significant and more fundamental than in the rest of the world.
All right. Finally, what does this mean going forward? You ask executives to look ahead. Can you tell if things will get worse before they get better, if there's any hope on the horizon?
I would like to say to business people and business executives, you've got to deal with the cards you have. You can't hope for a better tomorrow. And you will find, and I spoke to a businessman the other day that said there are so many opportunities he doesn't know where to start. I think we must stop looking at only the negatives. And in our next survey for the next quarter, we're actually going to ask people, what are the positives you see? Because business people have to adapt. If you don't adapt, you will die in any case.
Let's leave it there. Thank you so much, Johan Blichnout from Grant Thornton.